Hello and welcome to episode 247 of Super Switch Headz, the premier Nintendo podcast on all of the internet. My name is Patrick Knisley.
My name is Summer Rain.
My name is Jordan Willis.
And my name is David Howe.
And we are going to be talking about the Nintendo Direct with a partner somewhere in the middle of that. Nintendo Partner Direct that happened this past week, as well as the Pokémon Presents that just happened. So 2 medium showcases to talk about. Big showcases.
Prepare for trouble and make it double.
Very good, David.
Thank you. Pokemon.
We're going to be talking about the Nintendo and gaming news too. It's the Switch's 7th anniversary this week. There's some big releases and some big announcements outside of the Direct that we're going to be talking about. And of course, there's more layoffs, some big ones to discuss this week and more. But before we get into any of that, how are we doing? How are the three of you doing? How is everybody doing? How's our week been?
Pretty good. I had this past weekend off. So I actually had a weekend for the first time in a long time. Got to hang out with David. Actually, we went and saw the feature film Tenet in 70 millimeter. I saw it for the first time.
Oh,
I don't think I like it.
Yeah. I saw it for a second time being like, maybe I'll like it this time. And I don't know that I liked it really anymore.
I'm like, I think, I've seen that movie. I've now seen every Christopher Nolan movie. I think I'm good. But other than that, playing a lot of video games, hanging out, chilling, vibing. And also went to a certain ex-host's and still involved in the pod producer Matthew Stoner's 40th birthday party, where we learned lots about Matthew, including that none of us knew that he shared a lunch with Afro Man.
That's right.
None of us knew that. I loved it.
Almost nobody at the party knew that. I think it was like 3 out of 112 surveyed people knew that.
Yeah.
Because Matt did involve surveys and PowerPoint presentations in his birthday party. It was a pretty good time. I really enjoyed that. So happy birthday, Matthew. Yeah, I had a pretty good weekend as well. It was good seeing you there and multiple places. Yeah, I don't know. It was pretty chill for the most part. I watched Dune again, getting ready for Dune 2 coming out. I'm very excited. All the reviews are like, I don't know, my expectations are like too high for Dune 2 right now. So I really hope that I enjoy it when I see it this upcoming weekend. But yeah, I've just been reading a lot about like the history of like Arrakis and like and Dune and that whole like world and stuff like that. So I've been getting really into it. But yeah, other than that, just like been playing a lot of great video games that came out this past week. And that's mainly been it for me. What about you, Summer? How you doing?
Yeah, I have had a lot of Insomnia cookies in the past 2 weeks because they've got that promotion they're doing for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Oh, okay.
And
cool.
the first time that I bought them, they only had the box that has Cloud on it. So I went to another location that had all of the different boxes so I could make sure that I got the one with Tifa and Aerith on it. So that's obsessive, and I don't even have a PS5. Like, I'm not getting Rebirth at launch. I don't know when I'm going to play it, if I'm going to play it. But I sure like the characters. They are pretty. And this past weekend, I was in Chicago visiting with some folks. I got to go to the Chicago Rat Hole, which I would only recommend going to if you're already in the area. Do not go there specifically for that.
Right, you go there to take a social media pic and meme on it, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Well, you go to pay your respects is what you do, right?
That's what I meant.
when I went to the hole, there were a bunch of little, gabies that are tossing their pennies into the hole, making wishes. And I took their photo because, they needed somebody to take a photo of all of them. And it was really sweet. And also paid my respects. That's me.
What about you, Patrick?
Yeah, pretty quiet week over here. I didn't do much this weekend. Just working on my game, nose to the grindstone, trying to do that. Nothing crazy. I don't think I have. I think we left the house, but but nothing, nowhere noteworthy. Oh, I have been planting vegetables. We put tilling the garden.
Wow, you're doing
That's
a
been
real
the
life
thing.
farming sim.
Yeah, real life farming sim. That's exactly what it is.
It is that time of year, though. Yeah.
Very good. How's the streaming going? I keep wanting to catch you, but I'm always so busy at work.
Oh yeah, I haven't been promoting it much, but that's a good call. I keep telling myself I will soon. I'm just trying to stream at least a couple times a week while I'm working on the game. So if you want to see me work on the game, definitely stop by Twitch, and I will be doing that Tuesdays and Thursdays, at least. But yeah, with that, we'll move on to some shout outs, which we did our episode last week on Mario versus Donkey Kong. I don't know that a lot of these comments are actually relevant to that, but maybe I'll start with one that is, which is over on the Discord. AV said to repeat something that Jordan said, enjoying the move set of Mario versus Donkey Kong and how deliberate the movement feels. And then as Monolith Fiji, as David said, liking that there's more than one solution to a puzzle.
Yeah.
Some other comments we got on the Discord from DCD saying that has to make a correction on something I said during the shout outs last week, that KSB OKC is now KS Buff OKC, and gotta respect the buff. So my apologies. You've been heard, DCD.
It's never too late to focus on your physical fitness.
And then we got a Jay, the Huge 27, said they really enjoyed David's Next Fest breakdown. And jumping around a little bit over to Twitter on that same note, Rubikai Games, the maker of Lauren's Lure, also said thanks for the shout out to David on that one.
Yeah, and shout out, I think it might be Rubeki Games.
I don't know
I'm not exactly sure how you pronounce it either, but we've actually been in touch since that shout out. And he hooked me up with like a code for one of his games, and I'm really excited for Lauren's Lure. Lauren's Lure.
On the YouTube, Real Tomato said they usually listen on Apple Podcasts, but came to see what cool Uncle Vince looks like, was not disappointed. That is a nice callback joke, and much appreciated, Real Tomato. And then lastly, over on Twitter, Eric Shaw, thank you for tagging us in response to the Game Awards asking for the best video game related podcasts.
Hell yeah.
Appreciate that.
I bet we got one click out of that.
Welcome, new listener.
Maybe.
So we do appreciate it when you do things like that. Share the podcast somewhere online that makes sense. Another thing we've got going for us now is a Patreon. Thanks to our newest member, Shade, for joining the Patreon. And we put out, for just Patreon supporters, Super Film Headz, right?
That's right. Yeah, we got a brand new podcast, side podcast that we're doing right here on the Super Switch Headz feed. Right now, it is currently exclusive to the Patreon only for the $10 tier right now. And then I think in about a week, that'll go live for everybody on our YouTube and on our Spotify and everywhere where our podcast goes. And it's a really great episode. It's me, Amir, and Hans Gauger, and the three of us kind of go through all the Best Picture Oscar nominations, and then actually all the Oscar nominations, and give our thoughts on each of the Best Picture noms and what we think all the awards should go to this upcoming Oscar. So if you enjoy award shows or just want to look forward to more movie-related content, make sure you go subscribe to our Patreon.
And then also remember to, if you're just listening somewhere else, or if you're on YouTube, pop over to the YouTube and hit like and subscribe. That helps us out. All right. So for the news, first up, Nikkei, the Japanese publication that has lots of important video game news and well-respected and what have you, is also reporting that 2025 is the year for the Super Switch. And in particular, March 2025 is when they're expecting that to launch based on things that they have heard. Obviously, this is still kind of not confirmed, and probably Nintendo hasn't confirmed it, because who knows? Maybe they push it back if they have to again. But this is just more fuel to that fire that is the time frame we're looking at right now.
I don't really know what to say on this. The latest and greatest of the rumors have all been that it's coming out in 2025. If it is going to, March makes the most sense. Obviously, it's what they did originally. I mean, then they're not going to announce it until, September, October at the very earliest, if that is the case. So now it just kind of is going to be, what are we really looking forward to for the rest of the year for the Switch? We know there's not a new Pokemon game, so
Thank
we'll
goodness.
get to that later. Yeah, but yeah. Anyway, it's an interesting time to be a Switch owner.
Also of note that this week, March 3rd, is the 7th anniversary of the Switch release. So we're talking about it would be 8 roughly when when a new console might show up. So right now we're looking into year 7 here. I don't know. There's a whole lot to say here. Similarly, but wow, I think this is going to make it the longest Nintendo console if this is true. Or like
maybe
the
the
NES,
match the NES. Maybe
the NES,
Yeah,
I think is what it will beat. I think if it really is March 2025. I don't have that number in front of me, but I feel like I read that somewhere.
But that's just more confirmation that the next console is going to be the Super Switch.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Right? The timing, I would say.
Honestly, I think that this is good. I mean, I think that more consoles should have longer life cycles.
Agreed.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
I think it's fine, because it's always like you always start to get you start to get a little throttled towards the end of a console's life cycle when other people are developing for bigger things. But
Mhm.
also that's when you start to see people really using the hardware in the best possible way because they've had experience with it up to that point. I think the Switch is a bit of a counterexample there just because it is like a tablet processor, so it really feels dated at this point. But all in all, like, people are talking about, hey, PS5 Pro and stuff. It's like, hey, why don't you guys focus on games instead of new hardware, We'll get to that in a little bit.
Well, talking about PS5, we can move on to the next thing, which is another release this week. Final Fantasy Rebirth is coming out on February 29th, the day I think we're going to release this podcast. We're doing a little late because of the presentations, but so the reviews are out. It's reviewing pretty well. I read one review which said like doesn't necessarily respect your time, but it's a great game or something like that. I think there's a lot of mini games, a lot of stuff like that, a lot of side quests that but
a lot of Tifa on the beach.
Oh my God, I'm so tired of seeing people argue about Tifa's tits.
Big jugs on the beach.
Oh boy.
Sure is.
But I don't know. Is anybody here? No, nobody here is going to play it on launch.
I don't know PS5. The game looks good, but also like I have never gotten past Midgar in the original Final Fantasy VII anyway. So like I have no nostalgia for this section, for disc 2 onward of Final Fantasy VII, right? So it's like I got Remake whenever it came out, but also I don't have a PS5, right? So it just depends. Like if I can go back and actually beat Remake before it comes out and it comes out on like Steam or something, then yeah, I'll probably pick this up. But in the meantime, I think I'm going to stick with some of my little $5 indie games that I've been playing recently.
Some news that kind of ties into the Direct, and we can talk about that a little bit, but confirmation that Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves are going to be going to the PlayStation. So these are Microsoft, theoretically Microsoft exclusive games. This is among the 4 games probably that they were talking about in that podcast. March 18th for Hi-Fi Rush and April 30th for Sea of Thieves. There's also been rumors that I've been seeing around that Hi-Fi Rush is planned for the Super Switch. Yeah.
Launch title.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. Summer, you're the only one here who's played Hi-Fi Rush. Is that
I played it.
Oh, you played it? Wait,
Yeah.
Does it not would it not hold up on the regular Switch, or would they have to downgrade it too much?
I feel like it's a similar situation to how long it took Persona 5 to come to the Switch, because the seamless animations really remind me, like the style of animation reminds me of that, because it's so seamless how it like shifts between gameplay and cutscenes, and there really aren't a lot of games that like stylistically do that like well on the Switch. I mean, anybody correct me if you have something that like a game I'm currently.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really great looking games on the Switch, but this wasn't designed for the Switch, right? Or with lower spec hardware in mind. And it's like, yeah, and it's a rhythm game. So it's like, if you're having performance dips, that might actually throw off being able to actually properly play the game, right?
Yeah.
So maybe it's like they just couldn't get it looking good enough with a solid enough frame rate for it to be workable. I mean, I was a bit surprised. I didn't feel like it was too big of a powerhouse game. I thought this was a lock for the Switch. I thought for sure they'd get this on there. But I guess they just weren't able to really get it working properly. And especially considering seeing, this is kind of spoiling our main topic a little bit, but seeing how shitty Grounded looks on the Switch. It's like, wow, okay. I mean, I guess I'm glad it's not coming if it was going to look like that, because that looks pretty trashy on the Nintendo Switch family of systems. I do want to just say, Jordan, last episode, you nailed it on the 4 games that are coming from Microsoft, like going multi-plat. That's exactly what they were: Hi-Fi Rush, Grounded, Sea of Thieves, and Pentiment, right?
The rumors were true.
Yeah. I mean, it's also just like the logical choices, right?
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
Well, another big gaming announcement that happened this past week was the Elden Ring DLC was announced, and a trailer came out for that. Shadow of the Erd Tree.
I'll talk about it later in the games I've been playing section, but I'm trying to work up to play Elden Ring this year. That is my like gaming resolution is to play Elden Ring this year. So if I end up playing Elden Ring, I might pick this up, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Cause I finally got the new console for at home just to be able to play it. Cause I didn't want to play it on PC. I just wanted to play it like on a TV screen. So I might end up picking this up. If I do, I'll let y'all know how it is. But I know some people who are just absolutely obsessed with Elden Ring. The director of the movie that I'm working on, I thought he'd beaten it 3 times. He's like, no, I've beaten Elden Ring 5 times. I'm like,
People go fucking crazy for this game, man. I don't get it. I mean, I get it, I guess. Like, I know that people go crazy for Souls games, and this is like Breath of the Wild Souls, right? So it's like, yeah, I get it. That's great. I'm so happy for all you guys, right? But it's like people are like going nuts. Like people are like, they waited up until it dropped like 6 a.m. to watch this 3-minute trailer, and they're like fucking ordering the $250 statue with the DLC code in it. I don't know, man. I'm happy for y'all, FromSoft fans.
Another really big release, right? Equally big for some people. I don't always get how you go so crazy for these, David, but
Yo, why are you gonna throw shade on me before you even say what the name of the game is?
It's just equal to what you just said, man. This is equal to what you said.
Look, I could dish it out, but I cannot take it. Okay,
then shut up or nut up. Like,
oh boy, we're talking about Picross. Picross S Plus is out. I guess.
And yes, this is in the news because this is my podcast. And I can put whatever I want in the news.
This is the one that's the 3DS games, right?
Yes. This is a collection of the 9 3DS Picross E games. But they're all being doled out as DLCs, which is really cool. Right. So what they've been doing is they've been releasing 1 game per basically of the Picross S series on the Switch. And this is kind of collating them all into like one big package. I don't know, man. I just get really excited about this. We got a lot of Picross heads in the Discord. We got a lot of Picross fans. I feel like everybody that I show Picross to that actually tries it in earnest actually ends up loving the series. So I'm looking at the 3 of you as not having actually given it a try. And maybe you have, Summer. I don't know if you're.
I played Pokemon Picross on the 3DS. I liked it because it was Pokemon. I don't know that I'd play another Picross. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, I have played the DS Picross. I also have played both 3D Picrosses. I have also played the Twilight Princess Picross.
Mm-hmm.
And I have played Picross. I just
who is the founder and CEO of Jupiter Entertainment then?
Oh, no one
you're
cares.
Such a big Picross fan.
I didn't say I'm a big Picross fan. I'm just fucking with you. I'm a fair weather Picross fan. When the Picrossing is good, I'm there. But when they're down, I don't care. I'm gone.
Wait, are they down?
No. They're never
down. They're never down.
The same game every year, like 3 times a year.
They add very slight quality of life improvements. This time is paid DLC.
Hey, yeah, at least this is a game series that starts with the letter P that does make quality of life changes with each iteration.
Oh,
but more on that later.
Good one. Oh my god.
Sorry, that was a
Fujibayashi
stretch, I guess.
You were looking at me, David. I've never played Picross.
Yeah, I was looking particularly at that. Yeah. Anyway, I love these games. I'm about to drop $45 to get all 9 of the Picross E games and get 1,300 puzzles. So let's go.
Do you already have them on your own 3DS right now?
Yeah, but I want them on my Switch.
I get that.
All right. Well, next up is some new lawsuit news. Nintendo of America has filed a lawsuit in the US against the Yuzu, the Switch emulator creator Tropic Haze. Quick shout out to Bozo and Michael Domingue on our Discord for bringing this news to our attention and also talking about it and explaining it a little bit. I don't pretend to understand. If somebody else wants to summarize, I think what Mikey Dodo was saying is there's some case law that kind of, about emulation being legal and all that, but that there's one little sort of hitch here about what Nintendo's suing about.
This is a tale as old as time of console manufacturers going after emulators in a legal sense and usually failing. Emulation itself is not illegal. It is the downloading and distribution of pirated material, such as ROM files for games, that is illegal, right? So, that's like saying a highway is illegal because you could speed on it. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's not that, it's not a great comparison, but you get what I'm trying to say, right? So I think that I doubt that Nintendo will win this suit, and I doubt they're even planning on winning this suit. What I think they're trying to do is starve out these small developers in legal fees, dragging out this case for a very long time until they eventually just settle or drop it. And I think that is really shitty, but it's something that Nintendo can get away with and have done before, and they're happy to do, right? I think the thing that really ticks them off is this wide berth of Windows and PC handhelds that can easily emulate Switch hardware, right? You could easily emulate Switch games on a Steam Deck. You can easily emulate it on a Lenovo Legion Go or whatever handheld you want to get that is in that Switch form factor. That really pisses them off. It really pisses them off that before the game came out, the ROM for Tears of the Kingdom was downloaded 1 million times, at least according to Nintendo's lawsuit here, right? That's what they claim, right? So, I understand that is upsetting to them. I don't know that going after emulation and the emulator itself is the play. I really wish they wouldn't do this. And if they were going to focus on anti-piracy, they would put that energy elsewhere, because I think this just sets a bad precedent. And I think it makes them look really bad and petty in this situation in particular. But we'll see how this shakes out. It might just get struck down really quickly because of precedent. We'll just have to see there.
Do you think that this would have been an issue in the first place if Yuzu didn't have a Patreon?
That's a great question. Yeah.
Because they are making almost $30,000 a month from Patreon for this.
Really? $30,000 a month?
Sorry, $29,730.
Wait, really? Still, that's a shit ton. I had no idea.
And I looked into it because I feel like these things usually only get brought to the life once there's a dollar sign attached to them. At least the most notable cases, like the last time I remember Nintendo going after someone, it was because they started crowdfunding it, and that's what got attention, and then that's when they sent out the Nintendo Ninjas. So I wonder if there wasn't like the dollar sign, if this would have ever been a problem. But it's when they start looking for money that's the issue.
That makes sense to me. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, I was not even, honestly, I wasn't even aware of their Patreon. And now that I'm seeing that they're making $30,000 a month, I can definitely see that being a conflict of interest.
And I think Nintendo might actually have the case because of it.
Yeah, well, that right there is going to change, or is a big factor, and at least.
We'll see. I mean, there's obviously, again, it's not like Team Executor, right, where you're paying money to have access to ROM libraries. You know what I mean? Like, Correct. This is still a very different thing. And Patreon is still, technically like donation, and then you're receiving
Correct.
Rewards, not buying goods and services. So it's like, there's a lot of technical loopholes, but again, it's enough that Nintendo could just bog this down forever. And,
Sure.
I don't know. We'll see. Maybe we'll see a whole bunch of people subbing to the Yuzu Patreon to help them pay for legal fees.
Gosh.
I could see that happening with the way that we've seen the support online for them with this. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll move on and follow that as it develops. But to some news that broke today that we're recording this, that I at least heard about, this Game Scent device. We got to talk about this. Every once in a while, somebody wants to add smell to people's movie or video game experience, and this is the latest attempt to add smells to your game.
For $150, you can add very specific smells to your game.
Yeah, it's like what, like gunpowder or something, smoke.
I have it pulled up. It's gunfire, explosion, forest, clean air, storm, racing cars, blood, ocean, sports arena, and fresh cut grass.
You're telling me clean air is on here?
Yeah.
So really, they're just tricking gamers into buying an air filter? Like
it's not a
fancy
real
air
air filter.
I mean, maybe it is though, because how else do they manufacture all these?
It's just like a box that sprays out.
It's just a diffuser,
Yeah.
which it's just
Also,
a
you're gonna
fucking
have to like
nerdy-
buy refills for this fucking thing eventually.
I'm seeing
right?
that
Like,
now.
Yes.
I'm seeing
Yeah.
the refills for scents that you want to have stocked.
I just like that, between clean air and fresh cut grass, they're simulating the experience of going outside and touching grass without having to go outside and touch the grass.
I'm
I
so
love it.
stuck on the clean air one. I can't believe they're tricking gamers into like Febreze. I
Breathe, yeah.
can't believe this.
Well, let's not bury the lead here, guys. This is powered by AI.
Yeah, because
So-
there's no like official hookup to a game, right? So the other joke I heard somebody say is, so like if now in multiplayer lobbies you could like scream out specific things to try to trigger people's game sense.
Fart,
Like
fart, 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 fart.
Clean air, clean air.
Yeah, you're shouting that out to counter all your friends yelling fart, and then it's just the Discord call is just chaos. Yeah.
Oh boy, I don't think anybody wants this. So we'll see what happens with it. I don't know.
Great viral marketing. We're talking about it.
Yeah.
So.
I don't need my living room to smell like blood.
No, I don't think that we are really pushing this product. It was Jeff Keighley that was pushing this product on
Isn't
Twitter
that
today. That got
awful?
everybody really pissed off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But it's on Prime, so it can get here tomorrow.
moving on to some other bad news, layoffs and closures. It continues to happen. So much that we can talk about several this time around. First up, I've never known exactly how to say this, but Die Gut Fabrik, the Danish developer,
I think it's D, but
Die
yeah.
Gut Fabrik, is shutting down. They've made a number of interesting games, and particularly what's the Salt Sea? I'm blanking on the most recent one from last year or the year before.
Mutazion.
That's the
was a
one
game.
I've played. Yeah,
And
that's
then,
a good one.
Salt
Also-
Sea Chronicles.
Salt Sea Chronicles,
is the
thank
other
you.
one.
Sports Friends is a game that I was a really big fan of. I
Oh.
was a Kickstarter backer on that game. I was really sad to see this studio closing.
Yeah, they're pretty cool because they did lots of interesting narrative stuff with Mutazion and Salt Sea Chronicles in terms of like they don't really tell a hero's journey story. They kind of are messing with like community storytelling and they just kind of have a cool approach. So it's a shame to see somebody out there experimenting having to shut down because of their public statement says because they can't find funding for things. So and then Supermassive and Deck 9 both have a lot of layoffs. And then the really big one, kind of maybe even more surprising one, is Sony PlayStation laying off apparently 900-ish people across various studios, completely shutting down, I think, the London office. People at like Insomniac, people at Guerrilla, people at Naughty Dog. Like I know that in their last report, they said they weren't doing as well as they expected, but it didn't feel like this was coming from that quarterly report. I don't know.
I think that some of these companies are just doing it because everybody else is doing it,
Totally.
And I think that they're like, oh, we can just get away with firing a bunch of people right now because the entire industry is hurting, and like, sure, they're like, maybe it is true that their profits aren't going up year on year, right? Whatever the fuck that means, right? But they're like, oh, Microsoft just laid off 1,900 people. We could lay off 900. These people are blah, blah, blah. We could start to pinch pennies and whatever. Some of that is probably them bracing for what everybody knows is going to be a very dry couple of years. But I think some of that is just like, fuck it. Like if you know, it's like that scene in Adaptation. I don't know if you guys have seen that movie, but you know, Meryl Streep has this monologue and she talks about how she was in a car accident and then she divorced her husband. She's like, well, you know, if you almost died, you can do whatever you want. You know, that's kind of what seems like is happening right now. They're making the most of a bad situation.
I think also like it just like it may not even be conscious like that. I think it might be just like everybody's doing it. We should probably be doing this. If things are, you know, like I remember my brother telling me that he works in finance several years ago, being like, oh, I'm nervous because a lot of companies are laying off people. I'm nervous that that energy just spreads. You know what I mean? Like,
it's like a run on the bank or something. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the sad casualties here is apparently an entire Twisted Metal game, according to Jason Schreier, has been canceled as
That
well.
sucks. I love Twisted Metal, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I really want
And
there to be a new one.
And, you know, the show just came out. Like, the
Yeah.
popularity now is, like,
Right.
higher than ever. Yeah,
Well, they're
just
doing
really
a second
blows.
season too, so it just kind of like made sense to like
Have a
bundle it
game.
all together. This was going to be a live service game though, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Is that kind of the rumor?
Yep.
I mean, chalk it up to another live service game that got canceled before it ever got released too. But if there was ever a franchise that I think could actually
Right.
be an interesting live service game, it's like not just another shooter. It's like a car combat game. This might have been one that would be pretty fun to play. And instead of just like, oh, it's another first person shooter live service game with a battle pass that I have to play every 3 months. Like this could have been more fun. And then also like adding a bunch more car characters, like I and all the cosmetics. I would have loved to have seen what sweet tooth ice cream trucks I could have had.
Yep.
But no.
Also, Jim Ryan's last day was like 5 days ago.
Really?
Yep. So I guess whoever came in and took his position just like immediately let go of 900 people. So
Yeah.
there's a new villain at Sony. And let's Google what his name is.
Oh boy.
Hiroki Totoki. Fuck that guy.
I think it sucks to end on a sad note. I'm gonna not put this at the end of the news next time, maybe. But hopefully there won't be a next time.
Yep. Nope.
Next
Not gonna
time.
happen,
Yeah,
Patrick.
next time.
We'll see you guys next week.
But with that, we are going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to be talking first up about the Nintendo Partner Direct. We are back and we are talking this week about the Nintendo Direct Partner Showcase as well as the Pokémon Presents. But we're starting off with the Nintendo Direct Partner Showcase that happened on February 21st. But as far as partner showcases go and as far as directs go, how did we feel about this overall? Maybe big picture thoughts.
I was really impressed with this partner showcase. As I heard some middling and divisive reviews of this thing, but this was like kind of hitting all of the fucking buttons for me. You know, this kind of had a lot of stuff that I was really interested in. We'll get to some of my favorites here in a second, but not that we've had like a bunch of great partner showcases to compare this to, but I think the one that had Persona 5 in it before this, I think was the best one so far. This one now has taken the cake as I think the best partner showcase yet.
Are you saying that you like Shin Megami Tensei more than Persona? Is that what that equates to here? That's why
Sure.
this one's better? Is
I've probably played more of Shin Megami Tensei 5 than I have
sure.
played of Persona 5.
Oh
So.
boy.
Yeah.
They also snuck in some first party-ish stuff here. So I feel like,
Did they?
yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, with
At the very end.
the
Yeah.
last two things. But we'll start off with Grounded, which was the first thing they showed, right? This is the Microsoft game, your miniature. And yeah, everybody was saying it doesn't look that great, right?
Okay, so I have played Grounded, and Grounded is fun. I don't know if these types of games are for me because I've tried a bunch of different ones now. I've tried like Valheim, Grounded, whatever. Like you collect resources, you build your base, you go out and do shit. But yeah, this one in particular looks very bad on the Switch. Also, having played it on, I played it on Xbox One when it first came out, and it's fun. And this makes sense on the Switch. It just looks like ass. Hopefully it runs well though, because of the graphical downgrade.
Yeah.
But I mean, this does make sense on the Switch for sure.
Yeah, there are a lot of survival games on the Switch, or at least a few. I mean, I know we've got like Ark and stuff like that, right? So it makes sense to kind of capture that audience. I'm wondering if this is cross-play.
I think it is. I think they said that in the Direct. I'm not 100% sure, but I think so.
Yeah, that is a deal maker, right? So I think for people that have like, especially if it has cross progression where you can start on one account, move over to your Switch, play for a little bit, move back to your Xbox or whatever, I could see this actually being really attractive for that use case for a game like this that you play with your friends and you have a lot invested into over time, right? Like Jordan said, though, this is not the game for me. I do not much care for Pal World likes like Grounded.
Coming out April 16th, it appealed to my kid. I think the visuals, as bad as they are, they like just, it looks cute. And also he's like, it's like Pikmin and Minecraft. And I was like, that's
Show him Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. See what he
I was
says.
gonna say that. Yeah.
But we'll move on. I don't know. Do y'all want to talk about Ender Magnolia? I guess it's
Yep.
pretty big one to worth talking about. Sequel to Ender Lily, right?
Yeah, I just really like the aesthetic of this game. I didn't play Ender Lilies, but I've heard that it was really fantastic. And this one looks like it has a really cool lore and aesthetic. And I don't know that I'll be picking this up, but I know that there's a lot of buzz around this game and people are pretty excited for it.
Yeah, you get this instead of Silk Song, or this will hopefully sate the Metroidvania fans, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to even get into the fact that Silk Song wasn't here. Let's like just move on.
I thought the next game they showed off, a Ranger, actually looks pretty cool. I don't know if this appealed to anybody else. This is the sort of like puzzle-like game, I guess, where you move on a grid and the other things move with you. I just thought it looked like it could be a fun time, but I don't know if this appealed to anybody else.
It reminds me of those like little puzzles you had that like are like the square and it has like, you know, like 16 squares and you have to like make the image by sliding it.
Yep.
And I was always terrible at those. So I am curious to try this game, but I don't know if I'll be picking this one up.
This looks like my least favorite mini game in every game as a whole game.
Oh, like you mean like pushing statues around to
just like the sliding block puzzles,
Yeah.
like you were just talking about, or the sliding panel puzzles that make a thing. Like I was never good at those. I could never figure them out, and I would just beat my head against it trying to do it forever. There's one in Mario 64. You know, it's like this looks great. I'm happy for people that are excited for this, but this one wasn't for me.
Fair enough. For some reason, I thought you would like that, but maybe it's just me projecting that I liked it.
Yeah, you probably thought I would like that because you've never actually played Picross before, and you just think anything with squares is something that I would like.
Yep.
Y'all know how I feel about squares and grids in a different sense. I think I might pick this one up.
Nice. Well, in terms of that, then let's move on to the next one. Another one I know we want to talk about, which is Unicorn Overlord.
I'll just go ahead and talk about this now since I've played the demo. I wasn't sure about it for the first couple of minutes. The demo, you get to play it for 5 hours total. And I so I wasn't sure if I was feeling it. Like the animations of the characters, like I'm not even just talking about the jiggle physics. I'm talking about like the animations as a whole. I was kind of like on the fence about it. But once I got through like my first like actual battle, I really, really enjoyed it. It's so involved and I'm still like soaking in everything that it is. I'm definitely getting this game.
Yeah. Have you played any Vanillaware games before this?
I have not, and I know that 13 Sentinels is highly recommended, and everyone is already saying, if you like this game, you're going to like 13 Sentinels, play that next. It's been on my list, so I'll probably check that out next. So no, I haven't played a Vanillaware game.
Yeah. The only one I played before this was Dragon's Crown. That was on the PS Vita that I bought.
Oh,
like,
snap.
It like came with that cartridge in it. So I actually like played it a little bit and I really enjoyed that game. But yeah, I just love their art style and they make games so infrequently that it's like, I don't know, they really put a lot of care and dedication into these games.
Right.
It's really cool.
Knowing that they make games quote unquote infrequently, it's probably that that's how long they're working on games, right? Which means you know that it's gonna hopefully be good. When I thought I was struggling with whether I was gonna like it or not, I looked up like what like the current online takes were about this, and you're in one of two camps. You are like a bigot who is getting like upset about fake woke translation wars, or you absolutely adore the tactics in this. And people are talking about how they feel like this is gonna have the same wave of like Final Fantasy tactics, like in terms of like interest, writing, like just value as a game, that kind of thing. So not to overhype it, play the demo, see how you feel about it.
Yeah, well, then they showed off Monster Hunter Stories coming out this summer. Is anybody interested in this one?
Yeah, I mean, this is of note because it's a 3DS port, right? This is a 3DS game originally. Monster Hunter Stories 2 is on the Switch, and this is the first one, and they're bringing it back. So I'm just happy to see more 3DS ports make their way to the Switch.
And then we've got Epic Mickey rebrushed. There was a big trailer for this. I know a lot of people loved this game many years ago. Does anybody have fondness for this or interested in playing it this time around?
So I like the idea of Epic Mickey, and I did play the original with my sister. I think that the way we always felt about the original game is that they could have pushed it a little harder, a little further, and I think that's how most people felt about it. And once a lot of the concept art for the game had come out, we were like, wow, they really had a lot of really like kind of provocative ideas for this. So when I first started to see the trailer for this, I was getting really excited until they said the line "faithful remake." I was like, okay, it's going to be the same, like,
oh, like warts and all, you mean?
Yeah, it's just going to be how it was.
I don't know. It does look nice, and hopefully
Sure,
that
yeah.
doesn't mean that the controls are exactly the same. I know that some people had issues with those.
See,
back in the
that's not what I had an issue with. I just thought that it could have been edgier, personally.
Oh, right. I see what you're saying. I don't know. It's cool to see this coming. This game was actually one of the first jobs that Powerhouse Animation ever had, was doing the 2D animation for this game. So that's kind of cool. Maybe they'll send us a free copy.
That's historic.
Yeah. But the biggest thing of note here is Jeff Grubb was talking about how he had leaked to him early from an insider that Epic Mickey was coming, like a remake was coming, and the same person that leaked that said that Metroid Prime 4 was coming out this year. So do we just get Mickey Doored into Metroid coming out this year? I doubt it.
No,
I don't doubt it.
Well, I only say that because up until the past week or so, we thought the Super Switch was coming out this year.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very possible both of those games got pushed to 2025. I really don't think Metroid Prime 4 is coming out on the Switch. Or if it is, it's going to be a backwards compatible game with the Super Switch at this point. But that's too far away from Epic Mickey, which I might pick this up. It's weird to see Disney like actually give a shit about video games again, because they had this and then they had the team up with Epic. So it's just weird, like after they acquired all these IPs, to really kind of like make a bigger push in the next couple of years. I don't know. I think this is just kind of like, maybe we'll get more Disney remakes. We'll see.
Well, Bob Iger has recently said that they realize how much more they should have been invested in gaming this whole time, right? Like Bob Iger, when the Lucas merger happened, they killed LucasArts, right?
Yeah.
And they were like, fuck games, like we're going to just focus on the movie IPs and blah, 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 right? And then all their like Star Wars projects, they were big at first and now they're all kind of starting to fail. And there's an oversaturation of Marvel on the market and all this kind of stuff. And they're realizing, oh shit, we probably got a little too cocksure with this whole streaming service and everything, right? And so now they're starting to realize that they need to branch back out. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a lot more pushes from Disney into the gaming space in the next few years.
Next up was Shin Megami Tensei 5 V Vengeance. They're playing off of the Persona Royal version, right? Like a new game that contains the base game plus this extra story.
I'm hearing it's twice as long.
Gee whiz.
Like it's a whole additional, like just doubled content.
Atlas can't keep getting away with this.
They're going to. I'm going to buy it.
Are you?
I was waiting for. I didn't buy the original because I knew they were going to do this bullshit.
Wow.
I waited for Persona 5 Royal. I didn't get vanilla. I waited. Sorry.
You're a smart shopper. That's what you are.
Yeah.
Well, you're well informed. You're a well informed.
You're an r/patient gamer.
It depends. It depends on the title, right? But yeah,
Well,
this one I will be getting.
I don't think this game
For
needs to be
reason.
twice as long, personally. But
Oh yeah, how many hours did you put in the base game, Patrick?
I don't know, but I gave up.
Yeah,
It was too long.
And you
You gave up?
It's too long.
You had a Shin Megami Tensei 5 podcast.
We both gave up. Me and Austin. Like I take that for what you will, but I think this
that
game
actually makes me scared. I
is
don't know.
too. It just got. It was like I was ready for it to end.
I don't like that. Okay.
Bring back optimal pairing.
Yeah, we'll see. Anyway, next up was the Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection coming in pretty soon, actually, March 14th. I don't know how to feel about this one either. Looks like it could be fun if there was actually a lot of people playing it.
I'm so stoked for this. I don't know. This is one game I have a ton of nostalgia for because this was
Me
like
too.
in the era when I was in high school and there was gaming or like gaming cafes. So you'd be in a gaming cafe with like 30 other nerds and someone would just be like, who wants to play Battlefront? And fucking everyone in the gaming cafe would log onto their PC for Battlefront and we'd all just play like 16v16. I can't remember what it was. And it was a blast. So I have a ton of nostalgia for this one. And then also this is like a combination of 1, 2, and cut content, which is just like, or like content that was exclusive to certain consoles. So I'm just like, they're putting everything in one package. And I don't know. I'm actually pretty excited for this. I'll probably will be picking this up for sure.
This isn't going to have the stuff that would have been in Battlefront 3 though. Right, because that was like a canceled game.
No, I think it's mostly just like content that was like there was certain characters that were only on certain consoles. I can't remember exactly the details.
Got it.
Yeah,
Yeah, this looks cool. This is like the first of many. Actually, that's not true. There's a lot in this partner showcase that was like you could play with a lot of people online. Right, there's a lot of like online multiplayer in this direct, which is cool. It's also nice to just see this come back. I mean, they're kind of working their way through all the classic Star Wars games. Also, Dark Forces remaster is about to come out, I think, tomorrow. That I'm actually more interested in than this, just because Night Dive Studio is doing it. It looks like an incredible remake. This is Aspire, who's been doing a lot of the other remakes, which have been serviceable for the most part. But hopefully the netcode holds up on this one. But it feels like they're working through every possible game up until the Rogue Squadron games, right? So I'm like, bro, just bring Rogue Squadron to the Switch. Like, that's what I really want. And then hopefully they can somehow wrangle the canceled Rogue Squadron game as well that got cut. But yeah, there's a lot of really cool looking stuff on here.
Next up was South Park Snow Day coming March 26th. We had Sword Art Online, Fractured Daydream, Gundam Breaker 4. I don't know if any of that speaking to anybody.
what happened to
like
1
to-
through 3?
Yo, they're popular as enough. There's
They
enough
are.
players.
Yeah, like I was
People
actually
love
kind of
Gunpla.
interested in the Gundam game.
Yeah.
Now, Sword Art Online, as soon as I saw the title, I was just like, God, I would be so fucking happy if I could live the rest of my life without ever having to hear Sword Art Online again. And here we are on my fucking Nintendo Switch. Sorry. Oh, Jordan, did I upset you?
No, I'm laughing because I agree.
It fucking sucks. Anyway, Super Monkey Ball.
Yeah, this is the big one, right? Or a big one here. I know David's got to be excited. I know a lot of people are. We got a new Super Monkey Ball. A new Super Monkey Ball game, Banana Rumble. How we feeling?
Yeah, I mean, I love that they're making a new Super Monkey Ball game, and it looks like it doesn't have guardrails, right? I was noticing that in the trailer. It's like these actually look pretty hard. I don't love the graphic style. They're kind of using the Banana Blitz onward graphic style, but that's just the future of Monkey Ball graphics, and I have to accept that. It's about the gameplay, not that it looks exactly like the GameCube games, right? This is another game where they're really pushing the online multiplayer aspect of it. You can play with 16 players on some of these mini games, right? Again, it's like, that's not why I play Monkey Ball, gang. Like, I don't give a shit about multiplayer in Monkey Ball. Like, it's fun, but like, I'm there for the single player content, right? Like that's what I love about this series. That's what I love about the franchise. As long as they get that right, I'll be happy, right? So I know that Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania has some haters. Recently I was listening to NVC, and it was like they fucked up the physics and all that kind of stuff. And like I'm a huge Super Monkey Ball fan, and I really liked Banana Mania, right? So I think, if as long as they're bringing the spirit of that game forward, and even if it has that physics, I'm going to be happy, right? Just to have new stages that I can play. So I'm pumped, but I'm wary because the history of Monkey Ball recently is not super great.
I think I'm on the opposite end. I was like, oh, this is Super Monkey Ball, guys. I'm in. Let's just compete with 15 other people and just see who can like duke it out to be the best. I don't know. The online was actually what kind of drew me in to this game, because I'm curious to play that type of game competitively. But I think that's like more my Super Monkey Ball history, because that on GameCube, I don't think I ever owned the game personally, but I had friends who did, and we just mostly played. We would either pass the controller on the single player levels, or we played a lot of the multiplayer together. And so for me, like this in my brain is like a game to play with other people. So I'm kind of excited about the multiplayer content personally.
Moving on to World of Goo 2. Got shown off and announced. It's not a Switch exclusive, but I think it's a console exclusive, I think they said. And also that the multiplayer, and local, I think in this case, is exclusive to the Switch. So yeah, like you said, David, there's a lot of multiplayer online, but also a lot of like 4-player local co-op in a lot of these games too. Pushing that hard.
World of Goo rips. Give it a try if you've never played a World of Goo game before. These games are really awesome.
We've got Fantasy Life I, The Girl Who Steals Time, coming in October. And then another Crab's Treasure got another show off in a direct. Maybe it was an indie. I don't know. I feel like this has been shown by Nintendo before, but this was a more meaty trailer this time around, right?
When did they show this before? Because I've heard people be like, yeah, they showed it. Did this game get a title change or something?
It was new to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was in one of the like indie directs, or a direct is a show, like not this detail. I think the announcement of it maybe was.
Well, I thought this looked kind of cool, and then they were like, it's a Souls-like, and I was like, peace. I'm good.
It kind of looks like a kid's Souls-like though. So like,
yeah,
it's like your first one introduction.
Yeah, like exactly. If this would be the game, like the Souls-like, I would be comfortable with my kid playing, because I can't off the top of my head think of any other Souls-likes that are, good for kids 10 and under, really.
and ironically, that does not even include the Pinocchio Souls-like.
Yeah, I thought it definitely has that weird vibe of like looking kid-friendly, but I'm not sure mechanically it will be.
That's fair.
I think it's going to be tough. It looks like it's hard.
So I which I don't mind, like kind of appeals to me actually, but like I'm not sure where that lands for, you know what I mean? Both ends of the spectrum, right?
Sure.
Like watching this with my family, my wife and son were both like, that looks cool. But then I'm like, I don't know that you actually either of you would enjoy playing this. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It'd be cool if they added a bunch of like accessibility options to make it to where you could just jam buttons and beat it.
Yeah. This was the release date trailer. Apparently this was in the indie world.
Okay.
In May of 2022.
Okay, that's why I don't remember.
So that's why we're all like, when did this happen? Yeah, this was supposed to come out in 2023. So I think that's why it got another shout out to get the release date trailer.
There you go. Interesting looking game. We'll see. Another big one for us here, maybe Penny's Big Breakaway got shown off and released at the same time. David, have you had a chance to play this? Did you pick this up?
Oh yeah. I've been playing this quite a bit. I haven't beaten the game yet. I'm about halfway through. I think I'm on like world 6 of like, I think 11 or something like that worlds. But yeah, this game is fucking awesome, guys. I mean, I knew I was going to love it, and I do. My friend Joe Lambert, who works for Private Division, sent me a message and was like, because I tweeted, I was like, I can't wait to, this is before the direct came out. I was like, I can't wait to play Penny's Big Breakaway tomorrow when the direct comes out or whatever. And then like Joe asked me later, she's like, how'd you know this game was going to Shadow Drop, and I was like, I just had a feeling. But I was very happy to see that it came out day of. Yeah, a lot of people have been complaining about the controls.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about
game.
that, David, because I've heard.
And
that they're weird.
if you watched my stream, I think you could also see me getting a little frustrated with the controls as well myself. The game kind of pushes you to use the right stick to control the yo-yo and the bumpers to jump. And then you also use the triggers to ride on the yo-yo, like kind of like Sonic spinning or something like that, right? So that was breaking my brain, and I never really got good with that. But then I just gave up and was like, I'm just going to use the face buttons and then just press in the direction I want to use the yo-yo. And that feels so much more natural, right? And so now I've got the controls pretty much down pat, and I'm stringing together combos and shit like that, and I'm really, really enjoying it. It's kind of like, I think someone in the Discord said this, but it's kind of like Mario Odyssey, like mixed with like Tony Hawk Pro Skater, right? Because you string together combos to get massive scores and stuff like that. And, you know, rolling on the yo-yo is kind of like doing a manual in between tricks and Tony Hawk Pro Skater or something like that, right? But then it's got this really cool, or maybe not Mario Odyssey, maybe it's more like Mario 3D World, I would say, is kind of more what this game is like. But it's a super fun, very original platformer with an incredible soundtrack. Some of the best music so far of the year. You've got T-Lopes, you got friend of the show Sean Bialo, you got lots of great people contributing to the soundtrack here. And if you like Sonic Mania, it's the entire team behind that. So I would definitely recommend this game, checking it out if you're a fan of 3D platformers. It's one of the most original ones to come out in a very long time.
Next, Suika game got some multiplayer again, DLC, local multiplayer, but there's a promise of online multiplayer coming with this DLC. So that happened. The Pepper Grinder demo out today, March 28th for the game. This game, I think we talked about this a little bit, David. You played it, you mentioned it last week with Steam.
Yeah, I played it on Steam Deck. Yeah.
As Steam Next Fest, so the demo has made its way over to the Switch. Looks like it'd be a good game for handheld. So
yeah, very fluid gameplay, very fast paced. Again, this is another one that feels really good to like string digging things together, right? And kind of like see how long you can go without actually touching the ground or whatever, right? It's a really fun game.
And then after that was Pocket Card Jockey Ride On, another out today release. Y'all gonna have to explain this one to me because this is not.
Hell yeah!
It's Game Freak game.
Right.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
This is like from that era, or I guess they're still probably in that era. But like after a while, Game Freak had this whole division of like, okay, we don't want to just make Pokemon games. So like, let's kind of take creators, and you know, a Little Town Hero came out of this, like basically trying to get people like to pitch games and make smaller experiences and push those out. But so this game in particular was a 3DS game. I fucking loved the 3DS game. It's basically a horse racing sim mixed with solitaire. And so the better you do at solitaire, the better your horse races. And it is like, now that I'm replaying it, because I bought this day one. I bought it. Actually, I tried out. I bought it on my computer, and then it was downloaded on my Switch at home by the time I got home, which is awesome. I didn't know I could do that. But yeah, so yeah, it's like you play solitaire, and then the better you do, the faster your horse goes in the race. And then you can also like, there's a whole breeding mechanic, so you can like breed the horses as well. And there's a bunch of different like cups to complete. There's a lot of like, I don't know. Anyway. This game's really fun. It's like a really simple and addicting gameplay loop. I really enjoy this game, and it's got a really dark sense of humor that I forgot about until I was replaying it. Because the premise of the game is that you are a jockey who dies, and you are sent back to be a good jockey by God or by an angel. Anyway, I highly recommend this game. It's only like $15 too.
It's a great game. Yeah, I have it on my 3DS. It's arguably Game Freak's best game.
Whoa. We got to move on, y'all. There was a sizzle reel. We don't need to talk about it unless y'all want to.
I think the main thing to note in the sizzle reel was this is where we got Pentiment for the Switch, right? So that was the other Microsoft first party game that is coming to the Switch, and that's out now. I think it came out the day after this partner showcase. But I've only heard really good things about that, and it's nice to see more Microsoft stuff coming, like some things that might be coming up on this list as well.
Yeah, and the next thing shown off was a Nintendo Switch Online update for Rare games that are coming to the service.
Snake Rattle and Roll for the NES and RC Pro-Am, Battletoads, Battle Maniacs, Killer Instinct for the Super Nintendo, and Blast Corps for the N64. Did any of you guys play these when you were younger? We got any Blast Corps fans in here?
Oh, I'm a Blast Corps fan. That was the first game I ever got for an Nintendo 64, because when I got the N64, I was like, this game's got a giant robot on the cover. I'm fucking in. And I love that game. I just love just smashing buildings. But that's actually a really interesting level-based game with a ton of different playable vehicles. But yeah.
It's been a long ass time since I played this game. I think I rented this game when I was a kid. And so it's been a minute. But correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't the plot of this game that there's a nuke on a truck that has to get from one place to another, and it has to go in a straight line? So you have to destroy all the buildings in the way. Is that correct?
I don't know if that's the entire plot of the game, but there are definitely levels where you have to escort a train by like making sure the path is clear.
Yeah, I just don't know why they wouldn't just drive around, you know?
It's a train. The track is already laid, David. I don't know why they would build buildings on the track, but the track is already laid.
For gameplay purposes, you have to understand.
I played a lot of Killer Instinct when I was younger.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I need to go back to it.
I'll have a deal. Let's play some Killer Instinct online, Patrick.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Well, I wanted to say that I think the weirder thing of this is, and I had the same experience watching it, but people thought this was going to be the perfect dark drop.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
No Perfect Dark, no Donkey Kong 64, no Banjo-Tooie. There's definitely still Rare games to come. This is kind of like the bottom of the barrel Rare collection, to be honest.
Even what Diddy Kong Racing? I don't know.
Diddy Kong Racing.
Was that a Rare game?
Yeah.
There is a really out there theory that all the boxes on this are in space and they're in constellations, and that there are 4 square or rectangular constellations in addition on the screen. So people think that maybe there are going to be 4 more games from Rare announced soon, or I don't know, at some point. I don't know if that's reaching or not, but we'll move on to the last final thing, which is Endless Ocean Luminous. Got shown off a new Endless Ocean game coming out for the Switch May 2nd. I don't know, y'all. I'm pretty excited about this. This feels like some nice chill game.
Really?
I've never played an Endless Ocean game, but I want to play this one. This just looks like something, I don't know. Something about the timing of it too. May 2nd is around my birthday, and I just feel like play some deep sea, like chill out, that day.
Yeah, that sounds like a really nice way to spend your birthday, Patrick.
I don't know. I feel like it would be fun to do with my family too.
Yeah. I mean, Endless Ocean was a Wii game originally. It was kind of during that blue ocean strategy, right, of trying to appeal to more casual gamers and more unique gameplay experiences. I thought at first that this was a remake. It's not. It's a whole brand new game,
right?
Within the franchise, which is cool. The graphics look pretty great, and it's also got a lot of multiplayer. I think they said it was like 30 players online, which is really crazy. So that's cool. Also, they said it's like procedurally generated. So is this like a roguelike? I don't know. Is this like a multiplayer, like procedurally generated roguelike? I don't know. It looks cool. I don't know that this is for me, but if you pick this up digitally, Patrick, I will definitely play this.
I will pick it up digitally. So you can check it out.
Happy birthday to me then.
Yeah, right.
What a Leo thing for you to say.
Something about it speaking to me. I played Abzu, which is which also like it's like this feels like this would be somewhat similar to that. So
that's a great game.
Yeah, that was the partner direct, y'all. We should, keep it moving, but I think there's some big implications we should talk about this, right? They did a partner showcase instead of a regular direct. So We never heard about, Paper Mario 1000 Year Door, Luigi's Mansion 2. We don't have a first party game in April that we know of. Not that there has to be. There's also a rumor that there's going to be a direct right now in April, as if we, within minutes of this coming out, people are saying that.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if there is a direct, but also I think that I wouldn't also be surprised if there wasn't, right? Like we don't get anything until June. I think that would be totally normal. I think that April game is Paper Mario, the 1000 Year Door.
Yes.
I think that'll be coming out in April, and I think that'll probably just be announced on Twitter, if I'm honest.
Pretty soon, probably,
side
right?
order DLC. Yeah, I think, in March, probably start the 2-month kind of like build up to it, show a thing, and then do an overview trailer, and then drop it in April. That would be my thought. And then, I think you were about to say, there was also some exclusive games that were in the Japanese direct as well, including Mother 3, which really pissed off a bunch of Nintendo fans that speak English that really love Earthbound, right?
Yeah.
What did you guys think about seeing Mother 3 not in this direct, but in the Japanese direct?
I'm kind of surprised, frankly. I really probably shouldn't be, but I kind of feel like they've given us a few games, right? Like the first Fire Emblem and a few. There was something else not too long ago, right? I don't know.
They did give us the first Fire Emblem, but they're not going to give us the first Fire Emblem on the Game Boy Advance like Japan got.
Yeah,
I don't know.
There's a million reasons why not to bring Mother 3 to the US, right? Really, maybe only actually a couple, but like there are those reasons, and I think that they don't want to do them because of those reasons. And I think it's also like stubbornness at this point, right?
Yeah.
But also, I think fucking Shigesato Itoi has been like, stop asking me for Mother 3, please. Yeah. He's like, please talk to Nintendo about it. Like, do not ask me anymore, right? And I think honestly, just play the fucking fan translation, guys. Like, it sucks you can't play it on your Switch, but it's like that's been out there for a long time and it's great. So,
yep.
When did Earthbound Beginnings come out?
That came out on the Wii U, I believe, as a virtual console game. The difference there is that game was fully translated by Nintendo back in the 90s or 80s. So it just never got released.
You don't think Earthbound 2, Mother 3 has been fully translated by this point?
Not by Nintendo. I truly don't think so. I think they were like, we're not even going to bother. And then they just never did it themselves. Now the fan translation exists and it's great, so they could just use that. But I think it's kind of stubbornness at this point. But
this just felt like twisting the knife. It's like, dude, if you're going to release it in Japan, just quietly put it out like as a Twitter drop. Don't put it in the Japanese direct. It's just kind of, especially since that documentary just came out too.
Yeah.
It's just twisting that knife even deeper into the back of Nintendo fans. I don't know. It's wild.
Well, we got more to talk about.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, I'm going to stop now.
This wasn't the only presentation, y'all. We also had a Pokémon Presents happen. This came out on the 27th. We have held to record for this. And here we are talking about it. It was 12 minutes. So the first part was pretty, honestly, best paced Pokemon Presents in Patrick's opinion ever.
Pokemon Presents in Patrick's opinion. That was a fun sentence.
Perfectly paced.
Perfectly paced. Pokemon Presents in Patrick's opinion.
I just felt like I was watching it, and a lot of times they have all these mobile game updates, and I feel like they spend a lot of time showing them and talking about them. And this time it was fast, and they didn't have a lot of voiceover. It was just kind of like boom, boom. These things are all happening, and it just was nice. I wasn't tired of it ever.
I felt the exact same way. Like I knew that I felt like I was going into it, and then it felt like it just kept moving. So I didn't feel totally slogged by it. It was keeping my attention initially because the way that they used the unknown Pokemon, and then during the Pokemon Sleep, how we're bringing in the legendary dogs from Johto, and then during the Pokemon Masters, there was the emphasis on bringing in Lance and Silver specifically from like the Johto games, like Gen 2, I was like, oh my God, we're getting something Johto
They were really
related.
teasing it. Yeah, even I noticed that. Yeah.
Okay, so and then towards the end, right, when they were like, we have one more thing to show you, and they use all the unknown to do the transition. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Before that, though, maybe we talk about the card
sure.
game Pocket, because they spent a lot more time on that. But it was actually kind of well done, I thought. Like,
this looks cool.
Yeah. It's another mobile trading card game. I guess sort of, it seems like it's more about collecting cards. And then there's, because they emphasize the battles are quick. You get a really hard emphasis on that, which also seems appealing, right? You're not going to get in some slog of a battle.
To me, this seems like the Marvel Snap of Pokemon trading card game, right?
Oh, okay.
So if they could do a Marvel Snap, like you sit down and you play a game in about 5 to 10 minutes, that seems really fun. And it gives you 2 booster packs for free a day, which is awesome. I'm sure there's going to be microtransactions. I'm sure you're going to be able to buy cards individually or in packs or whatever, right? But having something where you log in once a day and you get 2 packs and you can maybe build a little deck and then you can fight some people online. That sounds like a ton of fun. I'm actually really interested in this. And the visual card, interactive card art looks really cool as well.
I'm so into that. I love that. I did that as a kid, right? You stare at the art and you like imagine what the rest of it looked like.
Yeah.
Or gosh, it actually is reminding me of the Orange Islands card set, where if you had the whole thing, you could like place them all and it was like a bigger picture, like with the art. So I absolutely adore that they're having some of these beloved artists do fuller pictures like that for us to explore.
I think I'm on the opposite end. I think this game is kind of fucked up, like, because there's already TCG Live, right? Like, there's already an entire Pokemon card game digital ecosystem, and now they're introducing another digital ecosystem without just having it as a subset of the original game. So now it's like, oh, okay, well, I'm paying microtransactions for this TCG Live. I'm now also going to have to pay microtransactions for this TCG Pocket. Like, that's kind of fucked up. As someone who has played Hearthstone, they have introduced several like full on games within that one game. So yeah, there's the original game that's also like a ripoff of Magic the Gathering. Fine. But then there's also like a mercenary mode that's a single player mode. There's also Battlegrounds, which is a like an auto chess style game. Like, there's also, standard, legacy. There's like all the different shit in one app, and all of my microtransactions go to that one app. Whereas this is like now separating it into 2 without any clear communication of if your TCG Live stuff is going to go over.
It won't. I can't imagine.
And I think that's kind of like scummy. I don't really like, when I saw this, that was my first thought. As soon as I saw it, I was like, none of this shit's going to transfer over. They make you rebuy everything. And I just can't support it.
I think it's geared towards more casual people and people who like collecting cards. And I think I understand what you're saying. And I think, I could see that upsetting that segment of people, but I feel like if you asked me to go get this other game and play a sub game within it, I'd be like, nope. But this, I might actually try out. I don't know.
It's TCG. It's an addition to TCG Live, so you just download the one app instead of downloading 2 apps.
I'm not downloading the other app.
How much TCG Live have you played, Jordan?
0. I don't care about that.
Okay.
I just am against the idea as a person who plays.
So not to defend it, but maybe to provide some additional context. There are not microtransactions in Pokemon TCG Live because it is based on the card, like the physical cards that you buy, and then you get codes from those that you can then, if you want to do the online version of it, also scan them in to this online form. And the way that game works is identical to the way that it works in real life. So it also keeps up with, in the same way that Magic the Gathering and Hearthstone have like up to date, like this is what's currently in play, it sticks with that. One of the first things I noticed with this trailer is that a lot of the cards that they were showing off have not been in circulation for
Old
decades.
ass cards. Yeah. I recognize like stuff from the jungle sets and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
but even some from like 10, 15 years ago that are not
Yeah.
in circulation, but have also been like lost to time because they weren't from the original set, but they're not current now. So I think that's really interesting. You're not going to get any of those cards in Pokemon TCG Live because the point of that game is for like competitive people. It's going to stay that way. I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying. I'm just providing some additional context as somebody who has played the Pokemon TCG Live for like when it first came out like 15 years ago.
Yeah, I think it's just gonna be a totally different game. I think that it's
and
like
they said that in the trailer that it's going to be totally different to
it's gonna be streamlined and whatever, more mobile phone version gamified. Like I just really think they were like, oh, Marvel Snap, like we could do that. We're fucking Pokemon. Why don't we have a Marvel Snap? You know? So I think that to me is what this feels like. But I mean, as someone who enjoys Marvel Snap, like that's great, you know? And I think, and I got, you know, I'm lost in the sauce on like where the fucking Pokemon TCG's at these days, you know, like I'm sure there's so many more like rules and shit that I'm not up to snuff on. So learning something brand new, like, and that's a lot easier. And then I could just pull up while I'm pooping. Seems great.
Well, let's move on to the last big announcement they held for the end there. The Pokemon Legends announcement. Pokemon Legends ZA, there's a teaser visual thing that happened, and then they give us the logo for this and said it's coming in 2025.
We see Game Freak and we're panicking, and then we see 2025 and we take a collective sigh of relief that it's not coming out this year. I was just on the whole trailer. I was so unsure about like what the hell was going on. I was into the music. I was like, are we getting like Pokemon Persona? Like what's going on here? And then as soon as they pulled that tape that said Lumiose, and they did the overview, and I was like, that's Lumiose. That's Lumiose City.
That's that city from Super Smash Brothers.
A lot of people were expecting something related to Gen 5, which is the gen that comes before this, like what this is from, Gen 6. I personally am not mad. I love Gen 5, but like me and my sister were immediately like, you know what? Give them time to cook. Give them time to cook whatever it is that they're doing.
Gen 5, is that black and white?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So sorry. So Gen 6, those games were X and Y, came out 10 years ago, just a couple months ago, 10 years ago. And it was the first games on the 3DS. They were the games to introduce Mega Evolution. They were the first games that didn't have a third iteration. Mm-hmm. And the layup was there, right, to have a Z version. And there's something about like the development timeline, like we all know with Pokemon, that just didn't allow for it. Or the sales might not have been quite there. I don't think X and Y did poorly. I don't know that they did any worse than I should have looked this up, but they shoehorned a lot of like the legendary stuff that probably should have been in Pokemon Z into Pokemon Sun and Moon, which was the next generation, Gen 7. I was really confused when I saw that in those games. It was actually kind of off-putting to me personally. So seeing that we're getting like a third iteration now, 10 years later, and the fact that this is the games where the meme "it's been 3,000 years" comes from, like, and just getting to experience that all day long with fans being like, it's been 3,000 years. It's been 3,000 days. That's how long it's been. So it's just, I don't know. I'm excited. We're to see what direction it goes with. Like cautiously optimistic, obviously, because it's Pokemon. Right. And that's where I'm at now. But I'll probably play this. Like, yeah.
Did we say that it was a Legends game in 2025, or at least that was our hope? I feel like there was a podcast where we were like, Arceus game in 2025, or like whatever the next Legends game was, and then 2026 for the next main line.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
And I just was like stoked. Like, one, I loved Arceus. Like, I was not expecting I haven't played Sword and Shield or Scarlet Violet, mostly because I kind of got burnt out on Sun and Moon, and I was like waiting for the Scarlet Violet kind of shake up, but then I heard it was so buggy that I was like really wary to try it. Whereas this game, like, I don't like the trailer in the sense that like it didn't show us anything really, mm-hmm. But at the same time I was like, I loved Arceus enough that like I will play this. I will buy this day one and have a good time.
I think it's going to be completely different gameplay. Sorry,
I think
David.
so too. No,
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I was going to say. I think that people are getting a little too excited because I also really liked Legends Arceus. I thought that game was great. I thought it was a great shakeup, and I was like, cool, I would love to see this formula going forward because they could just make this better because that game had problems, but it was exciting. It was fresh and it felt really good to play. Right. I think that the Legends branding just means it's not a typical Pokemon game. You know, I think that that's all that it means. I think this game is going to be like a city builder.
I kind of thought that too, actually.
Yeah, the visuals of it are all like blueprints, right? And it's or like those 3D renders that architects do of like modern city design or whatever, right? So I think it's going to be some of that. They said that the entire game takes place within Lumio City. They said that in the press release and in the tweet, right? So I think that I think everybody's really excited being like, yo, fuck yeah, another Legends game. It's gonna be better and better and better. I think people are gonna be really disappointed because this game, I think, is going to have a completely different style of gameplay. I mean, that it might be great, you know, but I mean, I know I would be pretty disappointed if that were the case. You know, although I'm down to try something new. But it's like, I think people are assuming quite a lot based on not a lot of information. But even then, it's like, this is so much more information than we got with like Metroid Prime 4's like teaser. You know, this did kind of show more to it there. And I think that that's what I'm extrapolating from it right now. I'd love to be wrong on that. But either way, it's nice to see they're taking their time. They're, you know, are they holding it until 2025 because they want it to be a Super Switch title? Probably, maybe. I don't know. I forget who it was in the Discord that had a theory about that in the Pokemon channel about how, you know, Scarlet and Violet was meant to be a Switch Pro game. That's why it runs so badly. This was meant to be out this year on Super Switch, but then that got pushed back, right? So I think, you know, I think there's a lot of truth to that stuff, or at least there could be. But we'll have to see what it's actually like when it comes out. But I am very interested to see, and I want Game Freak to continue to take their time. And please, for the love of God, don't push out this game and a Gen 10 or 9 or whatever we're at right now next year as well. You know, let's continue to take our time with these games. Hopefully they took the right message. Remember bitching about Scarlet and Violet.
Well, maybe we can just wrap it up with some final thoughts about these presentations about I think you said it. I think that, you know, probably this is another little bit of confirmation of likelihood of next console in 2025, whether it was planned or not planned for that, you know, time frame. I think this is just another piece that points to it. And then what they're using the words Switch systems or something like that, right?
Yeah, they did say that. I don't know that they've used that verbiage before. They've said the Nintendo Switch family of systems before, as we often joke about. But it's like coming out for the Switch systems. It was like, yo, did they just confirm that the next Switch is going to be called a Switch? Yeah, I don't know.
No, and I thought the use of the word simultaneously was also weird because we've not used that to mean a worldwide release. We usually say worldwide release, but they said simultaneous.
Also, like all the Pokemon games have been worldwide releases recently. Like, when's the last time they had a staggered release for Pokemon games?
It's been a good while, yeah. I think the 3DS was actually the first time, yeah.
Maybe they say that because it's so far away, was my thinking. Like, hey, we're not making you wait. Everybody's waiting until 2025.
Cross-gen confirmed.
No, but the Switch systems thing, also, like, if it is on a future Switch, that also implies backwards compatibility, right? Like, because it has to if they're saying it now, right? And saying Switch systems, but who knows? We can't take, you know, it's all speculation. I think that's going to do it for our discussion on these two presentation events we got this past week. If you're out there listening and you've got any comments on anything we said, please do let us know and we'll try to shout you out next time. And with that, we're going to take a short break. And when we come back, we'll talk about the games we've been playing recently. I've been back playing Minecraft with my kid. We for a while we were playing it quite regularly, and then we dropped off playing, I don't know, other games that came out, Wonder, Tears of the Kingdom, and Mario vs. Donkey Kong, and we've kind of gotten sucked back into it. But when we restarted our game, we were in the middle of the ocean on boats with chests and like didn't know where we were and like got immediately attacked by drowned and died. and then panicked and like tried to go get our stuff and died 3 more times in a row. So then we've been just like, okay, let's take a breath and build out this base we're at here. And that's been a lot of fun. I don't know if that I would ever have fun or would have ever tried Minecraft without my kid, but I kind of love playing with them. It's a lot of fun. Also, I am really the kind of person that plays these games and just likes gathering resources. I don't necessarily like to build. I don't necessarily like to craft. So it's a really great, it's like, what do we need? Wood? I'll go gather some wood. And I'm happy out there chopping trees. And then he can build what he wants.
You should play No Man's Sky.
We tried it and they had it at the library and it was just too overwhelming. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like very quickly he tried building something. He was like, nope, I'm not into this. And all the menus freaked me out on that game. Anyway, the other thing of note to mention here is that Minecraft has added these things called add-ons. I don't understand what the difference is entirely between like the marketplace, like purchase and add-on and then mod, and all these terms get really messy. But he downloaded several of these and we've been playing with this pets add-on, which adds in like guinea pigs and like, I don't know, better looking cats and and other pets.
Guinea pigs
and there's capybaras.
In
and so we've been having a lot of fun with that. And he also got like a furniture one where we have furniture in our place now. So anyway,
there's little dinosaurs in this. Sorry,
the dinosaurs kind of upset me because all the other ones feel like right. Like you can put wacky like clothes on them and stuff, but it's like a dog, a cat, a chameleon, and like all real animals that you could have as pets, and then like a T-Rex.
Yeah, what kid wouldn't want a dinosaur as a pet? I totally get it.
Can you put the top hat on the T-Rex?
Probably.
Are you upset by lack of realism in Minecraft?
Yes. Like I'm out here fighting Enderman.
Patrick, when you go out and gather wood, you could just hold infinite amount in your pockets in real life, right?
Look, I can be upset about the T-Rex. All right, that's me. We've been playing other stuff, but that's what I wanted to mention.
All right, I'll go next. I'm gonna go fast through these, but firstly, I do want to shout out something I'm surprised that you didn't say, Patrick. Splatoon 3 Side Order DLC. Holy shit, guys! This has got me playing Splatoon a lot more for the first time in many months. I am loving the DLC for Splatoon 3. It is so fucking fun. It's a roguelike mode, and it's just really deep and hard, but doesn't feel unfair, and it's complicated, and like, I don't know, I'm really having a blast with this mode, gang. I don't know, it's also got just some of the best music yet in Splatoon, and Splatoon is known for having really amazing music. It's got this kind of like lo-fi hip-hop like feel to it. It's really great. Yeah, I don't know, come check out in the Splatoon channel, we're talking about some of our best runs and showing videos and stuff. But I know, Patrick, you love the kind of PvE mode in Splatoon 3. This is more of that, right? So I mean, it's obviously it's not cooperative, it's a single player experience, but I don't know if that's what if you like the cooperative element of Salmon Run. I don't know if like that's what's doing it for you, but I feel like otherwise this is like a single player Salmon Run that actually has like an ending to it, and isn't just like real quick little like rounds. And you could just pick it up and put it down whenever you want, right? You don't have to barrel through the whole thing in one sitting, but really awesome. I got to the final boss. I haven't beaten the final boss yet, but it is a blast to play. So I really enjoyed that. Hop Top is another game I played. I picked that up today. Just came out today. It is a very simple, like, arcade game that never existed. I've been playing a lot of these recently. It's kind of like Donut Dodo. This is a really fun one in that it's like a made up 1980s arcade game that is like kind of a combination of like Doodle Jump and like Galaga. If you're watching the video, you can see that's pretty obviously what the mashup is there. But the fun thing about this package is that it's got like the original game from the 80s and then it has like the Super Nintendo or 16-bit like remake also in it, right? So it's kind of got like both modes. So it's just, I love games that are made up games from the past. But anyway, so that's a really fun one. I played that. Psychopomp is a game I picked up. This is free on Steam. It was by the developer of a game called Dreamwild, which I never really got into. I just couldn't really crack that game. It was really difficult. This is like a first-person dungeon crawler with a really fucked up aesthetic and a really strange story. And I think it's like a maybe 2 to 3 hour game total. I just started this one today as well. I'm really enjoying this so far. I just love the aesthetic and I love the vibes and the attitude and just how fucking weird the whole thing is. And then lastly, I'll talk about an emulator that I've been playing. Nintendo, don't come at me. The Red Viper emulator for the 3DS is a Virtual Boy emulator for the 3DS. And it just came out, I think, in the past week, or like it's been out for a while, and they finally updated it to actually work with the 3DS's 3D. So I'm actually playing Virtual Boy games right now in 3D for the first time ever, because I never owned a Virtual Boy before. So it's actually really fucking cool. You know, there's a bunch of great Virtual Boy games that, you know, never really had a chance because that system made no sense, and you had to stick your head into this tunnel in order to play, and it just like didn't make any fucking sense. But now you can just lay on your back and play on your 3DS and play these games the way they're meant to be played, with full, you know, like fucking like 15 different layers of 3D going from front to back. It's actually really, really cool. And I played a lot of these games before in 2D, and playing them in 3D for the first time is actually kind of a new lease on some of these games. So I've been really enjoying that. If you have a modded 3DS, it's a lot of fun.
That sounds great. I do have a Virtual Boy in my closet. Did you play the Waterworld ROM yet? Anyway,
not on my 3DS. No.
All right, that's my 1-bit joke. Okay. Anyway, so I've been playing besides Parker Card Jockey, I've only really been playing 2 games, both by Respawn Entertainment, which is really weird. But I've been continuing Apex Legends since the refresh. The new season is just really fun. Like it's just breathed a lot of fresh air, new life into this game that I've been playing. It's a 5th year anniversary, so I've been playing it since day one, and like it had gotten a little stale, and I didn't realize, but like the discourse online, because I usually don't read discourse online, which is weird, but yeah, everyone else is like, yeah, this is boring. You just keep adding new characters. There's like in a new map, there's a lot of minuscule changes to guns. There's like no real new anything happening, but this update is just massive. So I've been really enjoying that new season. But then earlier I was saying that my ultimate goal this year is to play Elden Ring. So I'm like, I can't just like jump into Elden Ring. I'm like not good at those types of games. So my first foray was I was trying Blasphemous for a little while, and I like was not very good at it. And I actually like was not having very much fun because I would die and then have to do all this like platforming to get back to where I was. And I just was like, this is not it. I just can't do this. So I started playing Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which is a Souls-like, but I think it's also more just like a beautiful example of why specific mechanics in video games should not be able to be copyrighted, because like this game is pulling from so many different things. It's like, one, it's pulling from like Prince of Persia because you can run on the walls, which was also in Titanfall. But that's a whole nother side story. But that was, you can run on the side of the wall. There's like exploration based stuff, kind of like Metroid, but also like Batman, the Arkham games. There's like exploration based like that. And then there's like a lot of like parry and counter combat, which is also big in the Souls-like games, which is where it gets that kind of comparison. And some of the enemies are pretty tough and can kill you within like 3 or 4 hits, but you're supposed to like parry them and then whatever. And then I'm really enjoying it so far. And then all of this is in a Star Wars backdrop. Oh, the other game it really reminds me of is the Tomb Raider games, which was ripping off the Uncharted games, the new Tomb Raider games. So, you have these like big puzzles in these like large set pieces. But anyway, so it's just kind of a culmination of all these different influences from other games, and it just kind of works, and it's in the Star Wars universe, and it hits a lot of the same tropes that you would expect. But I'm having a good time. I really want to play the new one. So I'm playing Fallen Order. The second one is called Jedi Survivor, but this is the first one. It is very fun. But other than that, that's about it for me. Summer.
I did a lot of gaming away from my Switch because my Switch was in the shop. If you have an OLED, keep that thing in a case, y'all. I don't even know what happened to mine. all I know is that I was playing it, and then the next thing I knew, it was broken. So when you're not using it, put it in a case. So I fucking figured out how to log into Fortnite on my Xbox. And they put Lady Gaga in Fortnite.
Oh,
Yep. You and the gays are eating very well.
Oh my God. We're already talking about like having a Lady Gaga group for MagFest next year because she looks I love the costumes that she has in this. She looks great. So that's pretty much what I have to say about that. She looks great. Loving. I'm just going to be the resident. This is what's happening in Fortnite this week person now. I also decided to start a new file in Fire Emblem Awakening because I realized, I had been playing Fire Emblem Echoes and then realized that it only has 2 difficulties, and I had already played it on the hardest difficulty. So I was like, okay, let's try Fire Emblem Awakening on Lunatic. It is not the same as like a maddening on other games, and apparently if you beat it you can unlock Lunatic Plus. I restarted, and this is because this was before you had like a rewind option. There's no way to do any kind of rewind in this. I restarted so many times. I got to chapter 4, and everyone says that it gets easier after you get to after chapter 4. I just can't get past chapter 4. So I gave up and I was like, fine, I'm just going to start a new file on hard. I'll play as Male Robin. I've never done that before. And then 2 turns in, Crom got critted and I got a game over in hard. And I was just like, this can't keep happening. Then today I booted up Pokemon X. I started a new game in that. I mostly want to bring it up just because like I'm hyped for... Yeah, I'm hyped because of the announcement today for Pokemon ZA. I'll say it. I was like, it would be fun to get a refresh. I was due for a replay of this. And what was fun, I forgot about how the online communication worked. So this is fun to see, like, before, this gets shut down, before we can all shift over to the Pretendo networks, is how everybody else that's currently playing online, it gets like shown across the bottom of the bottom screen, and then you can like choose to interact with people, and you can like display your own message. And it was so cool to see other people online who most likely I'm sure these people weren't playing yesterday, right? So everybody's logging in to Pokemon X and Y today, and that was really cool to see. So I wanted to mention that. And then otherwise, I'm getting back into Hades again, you guys. My heat levels for all of my weapons are in the double digits now. It's another game that reminds. I'm like, I'm good at games. I like Hades a lot. So I've been trying to tell Kyle like we should do races. If you ever want to do a race in Hades or like a certain weapon.
Can you do seeds in Hades?
What does that mean?
Like at a roguelike, you can input a seed and then you guys will get the exact same run.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
I know you can do that in like Binding of Isaac and a few other. There are a lot of roguelikes you can input seeds and it'll just like give you the exact, all the same like upgrade paths and everything, and then you can do real races. That'd be cool if you can.
Oh, huh. I'll look into that because that would be cool. Yeah, race me in Hades. That's all.
Awesome. Well, that's going to do it for this week's episode on the Nintendo Direct Partner Showcase and the Pokémon Presents. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks to MilkyWay.co for doing our website. Thanks to Corduroy for doing our music. If you're looking for me online, you can find me as PDYX in my game studio as One Frog Games.
You can find me everywhere at Weebwitched.
Find me in the Discord and some other places at Boardan.
I'm pretty much everywhere on the internet at Monolith Fiji. If you'd like to find our show on social media, we are at Switch Headz on Twitter, at Super Switch Headz on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. We got a website, switchheadz.com, and we've got a Patreon that you can join. Remember, we got a new podcast out there, Super Film Heads. Go and subscribe. We've also got our Discord and a Facebook group. We'll have links to all of these in the description of the show. That's going to do it, everybody, for this episode of Super Switch Headz. What a show. What a savings. We're going to have a great show for you guys next week as well. Make sure you tune in then. But until then, you know the deal. Stay safe out there. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to one another. Let's all get back into Pokemon Go, I guess. Other than that, we'll see you next week. Love you very much. Bye-bye.